ikoko manje. Haiwa kurowa varowa zvakakwana. Varowa zvakakwana mabvunzo zvokuti I think Labour ngaimbopinde ikapinda tinombodyawo nayo. Rega Labour ipinde tinombodyawo nayo.
Literally starting now. Right. Okay.
All right.
Right. So literally starting right now. Literally starting straight away. Right, of your Zoom listeners, a very good evening to you. The United Kingdom, the great United Kingdom, has held elections. And for the first time, it's not for the first time really, but we have actually Zimbabweans who have participated. And who are these people? This is a very, very brief review as we look into what has happened inside and around the elections in the United Kingdom. Press the share button as we start right now. Press the share button. We're starting shortly.
Good day, Zimbabweans in the nation and around the world. Joining us live here on Zimai.com. If you're coming in right now, do let us know which part of Zimbabwe you're logging in from or which part of the world it is. Type in the comment box right there. And our viewers, readers, and listeners, we are here for news review. We shall be exploring the top and trending stories from in and around Zimbabwe. And as we begin right now, do press the share button. Good day.
Right, here we are, viewers, witnesses. Good evening to you. I hope that you have pressed the share button, and I hope if you're in the United Kingdom that you are here live and connected. We're starting straight away. And our viewers, witnesses, a very good evening to you. My name is Simba Chikanza here, and tonight we are exploring what's happened between Portsmouth and Glasgow. All right, if you recognize those two cities, lift your hand and press the share button. And I'm joined here by Councillor Mupashiri. He is a councillor in the United Kingdom. Kuchando Igogogo. I'm saying that in Shona. I apologize if you speak Isindebele or any of the other languages. I'll try to mix where I can what I remember. If you hear me saying a word wrongly, please just correct me. Councillor Mupashiri, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me, sir? Can you hear me? Please give me feedback. Oh, you can't hear me. I'll just
check to make sure he's not muted.
My apologies. I hope you can hear me now, sir. Can you hear me? My apologies. I hope you can hear me now, sir. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Oh dear. Hello. Oh, just testing our sound here, viewers, ministers. Please bear with us. Please let me know. Right, can you hear me now, sir? Can you hear me now? Oh dear. I'm just letting my guest know here. Can you now hear me? Just letting my guest. Can you hear me, sir? Can you hear? Please give me feedback. Oh dear, I can't hear you. Please say something if you can, please. I'm struggling why my guest cannot hear me. As far as I can see, right, I'm hoping that he has heard me there, and I've also sent him a message. Our viewers, ministers, just type in the comment box right there, and let me know. Can you now hear me, Councillor? Okay, let me just correct this. My apologies, Zimbabweans. My apologies.
Sorry, this
Okay, I'm hoping that he hears me. So, okay, can you hear me, sir?
I do hear you clearly. In my case, I hear you clearly.
Okay, so you can now hear me, yeah? Jacques, it's now clear? It's now clear? Oh dear, you can't hear me?
I can hear you. I don't know. I can
sorry?
hear you. Check with the other guys. I can hear you clearly. You have no problem.
Perfect. No, so let's go ahead then. No, if you can hear me, then that's great. It's great.
Yeah, it's okay. All right. Because you have muted me, you can't hear what I'm saying.
No, I can actually hear you perfectly. Let's smash it.
So that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Let's proceed.
Oh, great. Wonderful. Well, here we are. Our viewers, Vincent, we're just going to look into what has happened in the United Kingdom. Because for the first time, the Labour Party, okay, the party that has traditionally been aligned to the opposition in Zimbabwe, the Nelson Chamisa party, okay, the Labour Party of the United Kingdom has done a swing. Councillor, kurakasha ma-conservative kana utoti ZANU-PF here UK itoti chi. This is merciless, sir. You can't hear me anymore, Councillor. Oh dear, you've gone quiet again.
I can hear you clearly. I don't know with others.
Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. Sorry. So I thought maybe you're gonna be because you were looking down, so I got to be distracted.
All right. No, it's okay. No.
Yeah, because it's okay. So great. So here we are, Councillor. What's happened here? Please take us through. How is it that the Labour Party has been so merciless? I'm looking at what's happened. By the way, of yours, ministers, this is Councillor Mupashiri. Councillor Mupashiri is a councillor in Yorkshire, okay, in Doncaster. If you know where Doncaster is, if you do there, lift your hand or press the share button, okay. And yeah, so Councillor, I know that you are okay. You are a Labour Party, a councillor. Right, and credit to Noti Muruva Tengesi, because you belong to this party of people who are considered the riffraffs of society. of both British and Zimbabwean society. But tell me, what's the secret here? I'm looking at the numbers, and everywhere across the United Kingdom, you folks have been so merciless against the Tory party, against everyone. What's going on? Take us through.
Right. Thank you, presenter. I think it's all to do with the connection with the people. The Labour Rise, our movement, our party, has actually been in touch with the grassroots people. So here in Doncaster, as we have already seen from the results tables, we have won resoundingly. And it's all to do with the sort of service and the communications and the touch which Labour has had with the communities. That's the fundamental point. That's the fundamental key to Labour's success. In any case, a lot of people, express, dismay over the performance of the Conservatives. I think it's no hidden secret that. So it's their own way of punishing the Conservatives. That's the situation.
For someone who is outside, I mean, some of us, okay, I'm saying us because I'm also speaking on behalf of a lot of other people who are watching what's going on in the UK. Please help us understand what the mood of the British people is like. I know you've touched a little bit on that so far, but for someone who lives, let's say, in South Africa, and they've just been watching, they see the Prime Minister is a conservative, he's an African Indian, and then they also see what is called, this is the party that Maggie Thatcher who gave independence to Zimbabwe, was leading. Please just briefly give us an overview to foreigners, so we understand maybe any historic relationship between, I'm talking about causal relationships here, between what is in the history files and what has happened now. Is there a relationship, and what is it?
I suppose you are posing that question to other members or myself. Let me know.
Oh, to you. I don't have anyone else. I'm asking you. Yeah.
All right. So you are looking at the relationship between Zim kind of politics and UK.
No. Just the history of the United Kingdom to foreigners. So someone who is outside, okay, let's say someone who lives in Switzerland, has got absolutely no clue, right, about what's happening in the UK. So they'll scratch their head like that. Are you with me? So they're just wondering, why on earth is it that all of a sudden Tony Blair's party is literally swiping. I mean, they're mercilessly swiping the entire electorate, or a large part of the electorate, to their side. Is there any connection to history here, or this is just incidental? What are the motivating factors? What's making people do this, as it were? Please.
Yeah, from my own perspective, British politics is actually tricky to understand, but it's not quite difficult. The thing is, it's sort of a seesaw game. It's a seesaw game between two parties, the two major parties, the Conservatives and the Liberals. You can recall clearly that in the recent past, it has been the Liberals who have been holding on to the reins of power. But the Conservatives has come in, I think this is their third term consecutively. It's all to do with the bread and butter issues. I think the generality of the public, the UK public, thought the Liberals had done poorly in terms of economic management, right? And so they chucked them off, and then came in the Conservatives. So they've been trying the Conservatives. They voted them 3 times now, and some of the elections were sort of, not proper elections. They were mid-term elections anyway. Like, you can still recall when May came in, Boris Johnson came in, now Sunak. It's not full-term elections as such, but it's, that's how it is designed in their constitution. But like I'm saying, it's all to do with the bread and butter issues. If the citizens think that a party is not providing enough in terms of jobs, in terms of transport services, in terms of benefits, then the only weapon they have is to vote, and they vote that party out. So now they've tried the Conservatives. The Conservatives came in with the language of better economic performance. So in their own view, they are the sort of party which has generated a lot of jobs, brought down the unemployment rates down, created or worked to develop the transport system, the railway networks, flights, airports, and other things. They also claim that they've done a lot in terms of benefits. Modernizing the benefit system, making the people get better benefits, but at the same time cutting some of the benefits which people were getting during the Labourite era. So what is now going to happen, like you are all seeing, when the Labour party is sweeping across the country in these elections, what is happening is that people are sort of fed up. That's what they say. They are fed up with benefit cuts, with a lot of chaos in the employment arena, and the immigration is also comes in. According to the public, they think the immigration management system has been very poor, resulting in massive immigrants coming in, who are also eroding their social services, transport services. All those are now at a tipping point. It's all because of the overload in terms of number of immigrants which have come in. So they are punishing the Conservatives for that. That is the sort of trends we see in the British politics. So people are are telling the world what they think by voting, and the results is what explains how they feel.
Can
So
I ask you? Can I be a bit brutal? Could we call it stomach
right,
politics in our own language?
right, good,
What we down in Africa we say, the stomach is what is motivating the ballot.
Yeah, exactly. I wanted to add one point though. One point. Yes, it is stomach politics, as we are saying. But the most beautiful thing about British politics is that it's very fair. There is no cronyism. The
Are
whole
you sure? Are you
system,
sure they're not ballots that are being moved like like we see where we come
they
from?
could, yeah, they are nanny. There could be a small percentage, maybe less than 1%, which is insignificant. But on the surface, we assume there is virtually none. You go there and vote. You vote smartly, no violence, no intimidation, and you just cast your vote and go home. That is the difference between us and Africans. So Africans, in terms of their elections, electoral processes, some of the, parties in Africa, for example, they would make sure that they retain the seats they want, they retain the posts they want, the seats they want, by playing all tricks, even stealing elections. That is very common in Africa. I don't need to mention countries, but that's exactly what is happening. So that's the difference with the UK. UK have got the Conservatives, the Labour Party, the Lib Dems, the Green Party, and every other kind of party. The Workers' Party now, it has also come in, and you can easily see how George Gallo is doing with his newly launched Workers' Party. He has actually swept clean one of the constituencies in what? Is it in Manchester, South or North Manchester? So you can see that is exactly what brings up the differences to the core, to the surface between UK politics and African politics. Here it is smart, it is fair, it is democratic, there is equity, there is equality and diversity. Everyone has got a chance to go and participate. You see, you are not blocked away, you're not threatened. So that is the thing. So all we need now to do is watch the space and continue to see how the British will react. Come general elections, we'll actually see how they will perform. But predictions are already there. It's for everyone to just consider. Yeah. You can easily tell which way the pendulum will go.
So tell me about the next elections. When are they likely to be? When I would like to see the real elections, the real ones, the real the real thing that then calls real power at Whitehall and at number 10.
Yeah, the
Whitehall,
actual
number 10 and
elections
Westminster.
come in. Actual elections come in every 4 years, and it is the prerogative of the Prime Minister to come up with a date, right? To promulgate a date. So as we talk, I don't think there is any date that has been mentioned, but I think it's not in the far distant future. It's something just close by. Something we are just waiting for, the Prime Minister to announce. It's something close by, perhaps in November or October. It's this year, so we are waiting for the Prime Minister to announce the dates. Just that.
Right. Okay. And now, tell me about the participation of people of color, because I think that's the most important one here.
People of color.
Do you think that we have had, because last time I remember in the last election about 4 years ago, we had over 10 Zimbabweans, right? 9 black Zimbabweans, 11 Zimbabweans, 10 Zimbabweans, black Zimbabweans, 1 white Zimbabwean, yourself included in that batch, by the way. There were 11, it might actually have been 12. And then we've got the wider African BME, okay, participating in the elections. Do you think from your measurements right now that Africans are still they are increasing in their participation in politics? I'm not talking about participation as in voting. No. Talking about like what you have done, Councillor, to actually go inside there and do it. Do you think that not just Zimbabweans, but I'm talking about the African, perhaps let me just say people of color, okay, because we're kind of one group, aren't we? Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Do you think?
My perception of people of Africa taking part in UK political processes is that, it's sort of negative, in the sense that, anyway, there's room for improvement, in the sense that few people comparatively are taking any part. The reason, though, is that a lot of Africans find themselves, busy working, looking for the pound. They can't devote enough time, for you to, participate in these electoral processes. You need to have the time, to engage with the communities, to engage with, the youth, women, and, participate in various activities, go and attend, for example, burial processes, go and participate in woodlots, in rebuilding or reconstruction of, pathways, parks, go to the libraries, participate in any events which are happening there, even some domiciliary care services. I recall the Prime Minister came here just recently and he went to meet various people, councillors, ordinary people, leaders, community leaders, and others, right here in Edlington, in our town here, at Helping Hands, which is a community center for us. So if you participate in these spheres, in these spaces, you are bound to be, seen. Your contributions can be picked up. People can identify with you and with your motives, your actions. And then it is from that sort of involvement that people can put your name forward to be elected as a councillor, to be elected as an MP. And of course, you also gain confidence when you participate in these, spaces, to take part in any one of these, roles. So now, to come back to your question, I don't blame Africans or Zimbabweans for not taking part. The thing is, people are sort of obsessed with the wish to get the pound. They are overloaded. They need the pound to solve their problems here, to solve problems home. And most of the people have got huge amounts of problems in Africa. There is hunger there. The governments, they cannot set up irrigation schemes to ensure that there is proper food produced for the people. So you can see the sort of pressure they have. They are thinking of shifts. They can hardly spare 4 hours in a week to do community work, to do volunteering work. So that's where the problem is. But there are a few who can afford to do that, depending on the nature of jobs they are pursuing. Yes, they are doing their best, but it's a tiny number. If you talk of 11, there are over 10,000 councils in England and Wales, yeah, and over 100,000 councillors. Look at that. So if you talk of 20 as a percentage of 100,000, for example, that's 0.0, I don't know. So that actually serves to show that our participation is very, very insignificant, and it's due to the sort of reasons I've mentioned. So it's a pity, really, but there is room for improvement.
Wow. Our viewers, witnesses, here we are. This session is meant to be really brief. We're not going to take too much time. We're just analyzing what's happening around the United Kingdom. And I had to ask Councillor here today the last question around participation, because we have an integration crisis. Am I right, Councillor? An integration crisis in Africa. That's what you're talking about there, where Africans sometimes they get too busy working that they totally forget about governing.
Very correct. Very, very correct. That's
so
very correct.
So about running their affairs or participating in local government or even in higher government. We're talking about the real government in London. And
that's very correct. In fact, that's very correct. And you'll find that the black component of the Bima people, the blacks, Asians, and the other minorities, the black element or component is very small. Last time I was working in government, most of the posts, these sort of these other posts apart from the roles you'll be doing, leadership roles like in the Bima, like in community work, outreaches work, and whatever. You would see that Asians would occupy the place of Africans, of blacks. That's the tragedy, because there were very few blacks, like in the civil service. And now it all boils down to what you have talked about: equality and diversity and inclusivity. You see, there have been very, very few blacks in civil service. Perhaps the same in private sector. A lot of Africans are in the care service, where the jobs there, almost because of the demand and supply issues. That's generally the trend. You see, so issues of inclusion is also another factor. Africans tend to just ignore where they don't feel included. You see, if you are excluded in various spheres, then you feel you don't have to be part of that kind of system. It's quite it's bad. That's the sort of thing I've picked from people. You see, why bother go and even vote? So some would say, when you are not even benefiting anything from the changes you go and vote for. So this is the scenario, this is the tragedy. But well, there is room for improvement. Government is doing a lot to integrate society. And more people are moving in, private sector, public sector, here and there. And these immigrants also, it's change of policy. We have to thank government for that. A lot of Africans come here through this skills shortages program. You see, so those things, those moves, those initiatives are commendable. So there is room for improvement. So we just hope eventually we will be seeing a lot of equality, a lot of equity, and then we will also be seeing a lot of Africans participating. Meanwhile, less than 20 Africans winning or getting to the stage of being elected, although they fail, some of them, it's pathetic. That's very, it's tiny figure. So there is room for improvement. We need to work hard. The way to work hard is to conscientize one another, to say, if we don't work, if we don't act, don't expect anything to happen. If you want anything, if you want to win in anything, you have to act, you have to participate, you have to vote. You see the point? If we don't participate in politics, in the UK politics, then we are better off not thinking of any changes in our favor. You see? That's the position. So you see, the only way to do it is to conscientize everyone on the need and the necessity of participating in British politics. Are you there?
Wow, Councillor?
Were you hearing me or you were cut off?
Yes, I heard you. I heard you well. And I think there was just a bit of an error somewhere there in terms of our transmission. Our viewers and listeners, as I can see, I think our numbers started picking up towards the end. We've got over 300 people watching right now. And some of you are wondering, why on earth are we having this session? Well, this session has been about just analyzing what has happened in the UK politics. The United Kingdom to Zimbabwe is excuse me, I think my video gets cut. Is my video cut, Councillor?
No, it's okay. It's all right. Fine.
Okay, yeah. So the United Kingdom is a mother country. It's the one that gave birth to the nation that later on became Rhodesia and then Zimbabwe and then gave independence. And so the UK also hosts
arguably over 600,000 Zimbabweans, and it has become a permanent home to many of these hundreds of thousands, if not all of them. And for that purpose, UK politics matters so huge, hugely to the Zimbabwean lives, and not just those who are in the UK, but even those who are yonder, the other side. So quickly, that's why we're just getting this. This is Councillor Mupashiri. Councillor Mupashiri is a councillor in one of the constituents in Yorkshire, Doncaster. If you know where Doncaster is, I'm sure you will know Councillor Mupashiri. But quickly, Councillor Mupashiri, we are shutting now. Any closing remarks to our community? And I'd like you, just as we end, to address not just Zimbabweans, but we've got a wide subscriber base here. We've got people who are also in the African community. We've got South Africans, Zambians, even British people who follow our news. What are your last remaining words here around the elections? These elections that you people have caused so much horror for the Tory party.
Yeah. I think you, I'm sorry, you mixed up the names between, I mean, myself and the other councillor. I am Louis Mashapure.
Oh, sorry, I
You sort of
apologize.
made that.
Mashapure, I apologize. You know what? It's my
Yeah,
mistake. I have an error
yeah,
there.
exactly.
I
Yeah,
got tongue twisted. I apologize. Yeah, yeah.
no problem
Thank
at
you,
all.
sir.
So, I would say in conclusion, yes, the electoral process is gone, and we've seen the results. The Laborites have done very well, and the Conservatives have paid a price for not listening to the people. To the general public, especially the Bima people, and in particular Africans, I would like to say, let us not lose hope. Wherever you get an opportunity, let's try and participate in community activities so that at least we make a contribution. That is very important. Let's also go and vote whenever it is time for voting, like the general election which is coming in. We have to do that, because if we don't speak, if we don't vote, don't expect any changes in your favor. In any case, in our case, we really need to make an impact, because if we don't do that, we are just doomed. We're just doomed as diasporans here. I would say we stand to benefit more if we participate in these UK elections. Like, for example, I will give an example here. In our council here, Edlington Town Council, I raised an issue or a motion to say we can actually benefit more if we twin our council with any council in Zimbabwe. So I'm working on that, and I think if I'm lucky, it can actually bear some positive results. You see, in any way, there are multiple ways of bringing up synergies by tuning up. So in a nutshell,
Would you also twin up councils in Zambia?
yes.
Yeah,
That's very correct.
I'm saying it because our community is large here, and we, yeah, we are both Zambians and Zimbabweans right now, aren't we?
Yeah, very,
Yeah.
very correct. Yeah, very correct. Yeah, very right. Very correct. And for those ones who happen to be lucky enough to hold any office here in England, it is our duty to try and enlighten our brothers on the importance of community participation. You see, and it doesn't end there. Like what Asians do, those guys, they help one another in a big way, which we fail to do ourselves. Africans, we are failing on that kind of aspect. With regard to Asians, when one person goes on to clinch a special role or set up his or her own company, he makes sure that he helps 4, 5, 6 people or families. You see the point? That's how they operate. In our case, we are sort of behind in that regard, but it's coming up. Because another example is when I set up my own company here in England. We started operations just 2 years ago. There are various network groups, and we can see how Africans are helping one another in terms of giving out skills, sharing information, helping one another in setting up these companies. A lot of these companies by Africans, very successful, have sprung up. So all this comes from politics. All this comes from politics. So let's participate. That's my final remarks, please.
And you know what? I totally forgot about Nicole Diweni. I'm not sure if you mentioned her there. She has been elected PCC police commissioner for Derbyshire.
Yeah, I didn't mention in I suppose she's here. Is that because the case?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, Derbyshire.
Yeah. We congratulate our sister for that milestone. And if she's here, I think she is also going to be sharing with us. So I'm grateful that she's here. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much. Our viewers says here we are. If you know any Zimbabwean who has won the elections, do send us the names, because we're not very sure of how many, who is where, and we also have a large community who white Zimbabweans, so we might not be able to recognize them by their names. People like Ndiweni we can quickly pick up, but I remember the other one who is in Scotland, right? The MP. What's her name, by the way? The one who's in Scotland, that MP, the lady. Yeah. When I remember how do you pick up such a person, because they've got an English name. See, but so if there are those who are white Zimbabwean or mixed race Zimbabwean, or just have a name that is not easily discernible, but you know that they're actually a Zimbabwean or a Zambian, by the way. This is not just for Zimbabwe. Zimbabwean, Zambian, South African origin who have won the elections, or Malawian origin, please scream them out. We would like to interview them, and we just want to see how they can network also with the greater community. So quickly, of yours, this is it. Councillor, thank you so much. It's been awesome having you on this session. Our viewers, we're now shutting. And I was hoping that people were going to ask questions. And unfortunately, in this big crowd here, 322 people watching, about my question. There are no questions at all. Anyway, it doesn't matter. At least people are interacting. I can see the emojis, the loves, the likes, and the shares. Thank you so much. Councillor, thank you. And I look forward to more engagements with you in the coming future.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Here we are, viewers and viewers. We are shutting straight away. Good day, Zimbabweans in the nation and around the world, joining us live here on Zimai.com. If you're coming in right now, do let us know which part of Zimbabwe you're logging in from, or which part of the world it is. Type in the comment box right there. And our viewers, readers, and listeners, we are here for news review. We shall be exploring the top and trending stories.
This is Zimai Media, broadcasting all round the world, on the spot, on the dot.